Uno, dos, tres. All right. Subject. Relationship. In order for a relationship to work, there's three aspects that have to be equal on both sides. First aspect is the physical aspect. You have to be on the same level with your other half. What does that mean? That means if I'm a marathon runner, okay, and if you're a couch potato that's overweight, that relationship eventually gonna come to an end because how I eat, how I train, everything that we do gonna be different. Our perspective for life and health gonna be different. Okay. Second thing is emotional intelligence have to be the same. Emotionally, both parties have to be even, meaning if you, this is kind of difficult to explain. If you're dating a 45-year-old child who acts like a child, who thinks like a child, and who pretty much is a child, but is just 45, and you're, let's say, 32-year-old adult who acts, thinks, and behaves like an adult, emotionally, you're not there. Emotionally, you have a child who has tantrums, who has no ability to control impulses, and you just sitting there and eventually gonna start thinking, what am I doing with a child? Why don't I get a real man or a woman or other, whichever. So that has to be equal. Lastly, intelligence have to be equal. What does that mean? Not everybody is the same. Obviously, there are dumb ones, there are smart ones, there are normal people. If I was to be in a relationship, somebody whose IQ and intelligence as high as Einstein, that person eventually gonna get tired of my dumbness because compared to them, I'm dumb. Compared to most, I might be smarter, but it doesn't matter. I'm in a relationship with somebody who's intellectually inferior. That's gonna eventually come to an end. So there's three aspects, okay? Physically, emotionally, and intellectually, we have to be in the same levels. These are the basics of a relationship. If I have clients who are not at the level of maturity to accept the suggestions I give them, so I try really hard trying to find ways to make those suggestions so they can change their behavior. At the end, they will change their life. It's very difficult, especially for me, because sometimes you just run out of material to go back to because that person is not at the same level intellectually and emotionally. What does that mean? That means if I'm dealing with somebody who was abused as a child, they're still back there. That person have to go see a psychologist. I'm a life coach. I deal with problems today, not the problems in the past. They have to work those issues throughout counseling so he can come back to normal. If you pair that person with somebody who doesn't have any issues in the past, it's just going to create friction because they're not going to understand each other, because the person who was abused while they were a kid is going to run into that emotional baggage, and the other one is not going to understand it. Regardless how much you try, you're not at the same level. It ain't going to work out. I haven't been to a gym in 5 years, but I live a very active lifestyle. I haven't lifted any weights, but I don't sit on my ass ever. I'm always go, go, go. So if I was to start a relationship with a couch potato, you know, it's gonna eventually gonna come to, yeah, you just want to sit on the couch and all I want to do is do things. So that's not gonna work out. You choose to be alone. There ain't nothing wrong with that. You don't want to be in a relationship, at least a serious one. You have somebody that meets your physical needs. That's wonderful. Only the thing I would highly suggest you pay attention to, older we get, more we get less flexible on behavior, especially on our routines. We don't want to compromise the older we get. We don't want to be more understanding. When I met my ex, we are at the same age, by the way. She was so settled in her way. One time we didn't get into an argument. She was yelling at me because I moved the shower head, because it wasn't at the same place as she normally leaves. And I said, what exactly is the problem? It's not the shower head. What exactly are you mad about, worried about? It came down to her feeling that she was losing her freedom. So we had to sit down and talk about that and get that taken care of. If you're late stages in life, I'm 44. If you're a lot later than me, it is going to get a lot more difficult when you do find somebody. That's if you want to. If you don't want to, I just want you to consider it's just going to get harder and harder if you change your mind. There's nothing wrong with being alone. You can be alone, get a dog. The dog will love you forever. Your life will be a lot simpler. And after a certain age, there's not really a physical. The younger you are, the more physical needs that you get out of a relationship. And older you get, the more emotional needs you get to be supplied by the significant other. Meaning, knowing that somebody is there, knowing that you have a shoulder to cry on, knowing that somebody's going to be there backing you up regardless. Those are the things you look for as you move on to the age, the ladder of life, and you are in a relationship. So be aware that emotionally you are going to get more needy as you move on in life and the age. As long as you're aware of it, as long as you keep it contained, as long as you actively do something about it, that's wonderful. You are more than welcome to be alone. There's a whole bunch of people that are alone. Just because you're alone doesn't mean you're lonely. You're lonely means you are looking for somebody, okay? Because you have a deficit. You have a need that's not being supplied, that being affection, that being love, that being taken care of, that being the security that somebody got your back at all times, that being, oh shit, I just screwed up my tire, I don't know how to change it, my significant other will come and change it. So as long as you get those things to work out in your life, how you're going to deal with it, get that being lonely out, you will be okay. You're okay to be alone because humans are pack animals. We live in a society for a reason. Just because you're home alone doesn't mean you're lonely. You got buttload of friends, or very high quality friends. You got family who meets those needs for you. You're okay to be alone. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Just because somebody said back in the day, man and woman, well, woman needs to be at home taking care of the house, and the man is supposed to be out there making a living, but the fucking times changed there, Baba. The more than ever, women are stronger, more powerful, a lot richer. They make more money than most men at times, or depending on the profession. So they don't need somebody to go making a living. The woman does that on their own. If they choose to be alone, there's nothing wrong with that. I got your back. Like I said, there are some emotional things you have to work on. Be aware. As long as those corners are covered, you're safe. With that, always. There are two things. Now it's two things at the end of every movie. When good things happen, Look up and say, thank you, God. When bad things happen, look up and say, thank you for the lesson, God. Always, always remember, nobody's better than you. And never forget, you're not better than anybody. You guys be good.